G'lare, and welcome to the Loaf of Bread GAA podcast, slicing into the GAA of the past, present and future. Join me, Jason Keelan, as we cut into the largest loaf of bread known to mankind. Hello, Diagwich, bonjour, ni hao, konnichiwa, guten tag and privyet to you all wherever you're listening in. It is finally time to enter the world of Gaa Global and Loaf 2 of the Loaf of Bread GAA podcast. What started as a message to 10 clubs has now expanded to more than 50 clubs globally from all continents. So come with me on the GAA journey of a lifetime and meet clubs from Canada to Argentina, South Africa to Gibraltar, Bermuda to the North Pole, New Zealand to Kuwait, Knoxville to Qatar, and literally everywhere in between. So grab the passports, grab the bags, it's time to go.
Everybody needs good neighbors. Just a friendly
G'day, mate.
Morning helps to make a better day. Neighbors need to get to know each other.
Slice 1 of Loaf 2 GAA Global takes us across the globe more than 15,000 kilometres from Ireland to the land down under and our old mates in Australia, where we'll meet John, a member of the Geelong Gaels GAA club and a proud Dub. We fly to the city of Melbourne and out the Australian M1 past Port Phillip Bay. Our first GAA Global adventure brings us to the beautiful city of Geelong. As we drive past Avalon Airport and into Geelong, we notice the beautiful Port Phillip Bay. This area was home to the original Aboriginal people for many centuries before British explorers such as John Murray, Matthew Flinders and James Grant rocked up at the beginning of the 19th century. Like huge areas of Australia and the world, British colonial names exist in different areas such as Port Phillip. As we head into Geelong, the evidence of it being the fastest growing city in Victoria is evident. It was 2013 when I was out there, and many say that the sprawling city has expanded even further still. The name Geelong derives from the Aboriginal name Geelong, meaning tongue of the land or peninsula. Like many of the major Australian names familiar to many, Geelong is situated on the coast, giving it easy access to the wider world. It was the gold rush in Geelong in the 1850s that grew the area from a small town of a little over 500 people to more than 20,000. It wouldn't be until 1910 that Geelong was recognised as a city, and the continued early traditions of wool production, among others, were kept alive. In modern times, Geelong has expanded further and provides many tourist and local attractions ranging from the Aboriginal Cultural Centre to the Wool Museum to the shipwreck of the Ozone, a late 19th century Glaswegian vessel which was sunk after several collisions and found its final place at Indented Head, a small locality near Geelong. Down the road from Indented Head you will find Port Arlington. No, not the leash town that is famous to such GAA legends as Hughie Emerson and Dermot Murphy. Port Arlington is very much a quiet area and popular with retired people. So Dermot Murphy, if you're listening, I've found the place for you. Some famous faces from the Geelong area and surrounding locations would be the likes of author Helen Garner, famed for her broad writings in some difficult categories, and actress Mandy Rogers, better known to many as Portia de Rossi. Portia is the wife of Ellen DeGeneres, and has starred in such roles as playing Lindsay Bluth Funke, husband of Tobias, in the amazing comedy Arrested Development. On the sports side of things, Geelong Cats are the AFL's second oldest club, having formed in 1859 right after neighbouring Melbourne. When the gold rush began and the explorers came to town, the development of the game grew. After the original Victorian Football Association split in the 1890s, the new VFL began as an 8-team breakaway, including Geelong. The expansion of the VFL left the VFA with little chance of success. In 1990, the influx of teams and interest meant the name changed to the Australian Football League, the AFL. Tasmania remained the only one of the 6 states without an AFL team. The Cats will be a dominant force in the early days of VFA and VFL, winning 13 premiership flags by the early 60s. However, it would be a long wait until the next one arrived in 2007. In the 111th Grand Final, Geelong wrote their names into the record books in more ways than one, 119 different ways to be exact. Their incredible margin of victory over Port Adelaide will be hard to beat for any team in the next decades. Modern day names like Cameron Guthrie, Patrick Dangerfield and Joel Selwood keep the traditions going, and are names who are familiar to many of us around these parts, having seen some of the men line out in the International Rules Series. Alongside them is one Irish name of note, Zach Toohey. Zach started his AFL career in Carlton before switching to Geelong in 2016. Ironically, being near Port Darlington is no surprise for Zach, as he is a Port man himself. His Laois career was somewhat successful, but perhaps his finest moment was his goal against Derry in 2007 while playing at minor level. His AFL career cannot be underestimated, and he remains only the second ever Irishman to play more than 200 games down under since the late great legend himself, Jim Stynes. In 1952, Geelong Gaels GAA was founded off the back of a large Irish employment force in the Shell offshore oil refinery. The dual club were not long waiting for success, as they won the 1954 Victorian Hurling Championship. Changing employment in the area meant the club needed boosting in the coming decades, and they got it through the help of one Brendan Carthy. But it would go through more periods of uncertainty until 2013, when Nigel Maxey, and the man you will hear from in a few moments, John Reaney, started it back up again and adopted the official Geelong Gaels name. Early days saw them compete in 7-a-side before moving to the 15-a-side game in their first championship match against Wolf Tones. Proudly, the club had success at Australasian level, winning in Tasmania in 2017 and boasting 5 Australians on their team at the time. And today you will find the Geelong Gaels Grasshoppers, a dedicated part of the club to boosting the tradition of Irish GA activities to the youth of Australia and those in particular in the Geelong area. Truly the Irish attitude of getting things done and never giving up are alive and well in Geelong Gaels, and it is this sort of spirit that will mean the GAA lives on forever in places like Australia. So let's meet the club themselves and speak to John from Dublin and talk all about Geelong Gaels in the beautiful Australia. John, how's the form?
How are you?
Can you hear me alright? You can?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, I can, no bother, yeah. You're a dub, aren't you?
I am.
For your sins, as I say. I wore the Dublin colours just
sins,
for you,
yeah,
know yourself.
That's what it sins.
Yeah, what brought you out to Geelong, out to that part of the world?
So I I first got to Brisbane. You know, I had to get the second year visa. Then I went up to Cairns to a town called Inishfeld to get my second year visa. I picked bananas up there for 6 months. Still to this day, it was probably the best thing I've ever done. Like, this experience was fantastic, and you know, I'd recommend anybody, you know, hopefully, you know, in a couple of years when things are back to normal, to get do a bit of backpacking. So after that, I landed in Melbourne, and then you know, I was in Melbourne for a couple of years, and then I met a girl, and then married now, and she lived in Geelong, and then we just said, okay, I'll just move down, and that was it. And Geelong's a great town. I love Geelong. Yeah, you
wouldn't find much banana picking around Dublin, would you?
No, definitely not.
And how did you get involved in the club then?
Well, it kind of you know, it kicked off in the 50s. You know, there was a lot of Irish in Geelong then. There was an oil refinery, Shell. You know, we'd go for, you know, I think the club went for 10 years then, and then just like in those days, the work faded away, and then all the Irish left. I think they all went to New Zealand then, and they actually, you know, the group who set up Geelong kind of set up a team in the Hutt Valley near Wellington as well. So you know, after that, you know, it go back in the 70s, then it'll fade, and then, you know, for 10 years back in the 90s. And I when I was in Melbourne, I was playing for the Sinn Féin club. You know, when I got to Geelong, there was obviously nothing there. That was around 2011, 2012, and you know, as you go along and you go out and you meet more Irish in Geelong, you're kind of wondering, you know, should we start something up here again? And there was a few who were around, I think, you know, 2006, 2007, and I just you know, took me and Nigel Maxey, who's a tip man who's living in Geelong as well. We kind of said, we were playing soccer together. We said, let's try get this back up and running again. I think we played our first game then in 2014. And haven't looked back since.
Was it hard setting it up? Did you have any problems or?
The only problem, maybe just, I think just getting Irish lads, and that's still a problem to this day. And the travelling to Melbourne to play was a killer.
All right.
Yeah, we have a couple of home games, and we have 10 games a year. Let's say 2 of them are in Geelong, and the rest are all in Melbourne. Because all the other teams are in Melbourne. So it's a good, it's your Sunday totally gone. If it's 11 o'clock, 11 in the morning game, you'd have to leave, 9, bit before 9, an hour game, get there an hour before, an hour, hang around for a bite to eat afterwards. You're not back home till, 8, 4. So it's your whole day gone. So that's still our major problem, and trying to get just trying to recruit more players as we go along.
Yeah, it's kind of like the commitment of a county player here who lives in Galway and is traveling halfway across the country for a training session. It's kind of similar, except everyone over here thinks that you're just a stone's throw away from everywhere out in Australia. So
exactly. Well, you have the marriages in Sydney and Perth and Melbourne. They've got a core group of players, and they're only St Kilda is where the majority of Irish are in Melbourne, and they've got little pockets around the city where they train. But the games are all in one spot, but they train in little pockets around the city. And for some people, it's a 5-minute walk. For some people, it's a half an hour drive. But just for us, it's just that travel. It's still a killer to this day.
I remember being out in St Kilda, all right, and you'd walk down, every third or fourth person would have a GA jersey on. You'd be wondering if you knew them or not, or if you were related to them somehow, probably. So, do you find many of the locals getting involved?
Yeah, we do. Well, we kind of have to rely on the Aussies to play. We haven't got the highest turnover of players at the moment. The group that started off in 2013-14, they're the core group that's still around now, and we're all touching 36, 37, 38. And if we hadn't kept it going back in the, we were playing in Melbourne against, we were a junior B team playing senior league. We were just getting hammered every week. Sometimes we didn't even get a score. In the Melbourne games, we just 5-16 to no score, and we'd still rock up training on the Tuesday, and it was hard then. We could have packed it in, but we kept it going, and we just, as we went along, we just trying to pick up players as we went, which is good. It's just hard because the Irish that come to Melbourne or Sydney, they don't. We're only in Geelong because either we've got a job or we're married to such. You don't just come to Geelong just to play football. You kind of have to be there for a reason. And that's everybody. We haven't got any backpackers. We haven't got anybody on a 4th-year visa as such, where all the Melbourne teams do. They've got start the season in January. Each of the football and the hurling clubs and the girls as well. They'd have 50, 60 players training every Tuesday and Thursday. It's just crazy. So that's where we kind of had to start up our grasshopper section and go from there, and kind of, a juvenile section, just to kind of get these kids coming through. And, we just kind of said, look, if after our group is finished, or we might have to keep going and play until we're 40 or 50 to get a team going. So that's the trouble we have. And we've seen over the last couple of years with our grasshoppers, it's fantastic. So, we're just waiting for those girls and boys to come through.
And who are you? I suppose you said you're junior B, and I can empathise with the Hammerons. I suppose I teach in Chapel Lizard. We're very much a soccer school, but we enter the GA, and we're no strangers to getting absolutely murdered as well. So I can empathise with that. So who are your main kind of rivals, I suppose? Then
we haven't got really. See, I suppose it was 3 years ago now. We were getting to the stage, as I said, we thought we either got to, drop down a level or two, or stop altogether. So, like pre-COVID times, the 3 or 4 of the Melbourne teams had high numbers of blokes, and you can only have 21, 22 on a Sunday or a Saturday, and then you've got like 15 or 16 lads who aren't getting a game, and that's how they go. Then they go out, they get their second year visa and then come back. So I just put it out there. I said, why don't you guys try to get an intermediate team, and we'll drop down, and that's what we did, and kind of rejuvenate the club for a couple of years. I think we had 2 years of intermediate, and then last year off for COVID. And we done really well. Like we didn't win a game for 5 or 6 years, and I think our first intermediate game, it was the first game of the year, and our first intermediate game, and we won. So it was great. Like I think we won by a point, which is fantastic. And like on that team, we would have had 7 or 8 Australians.
Brilliant.
Which was great. So
who did you beat? Do you remember?
Wolf Hounds.
All right. Yeah.
So it was a great win, and I think we got there was 4 teams. Yeah, 4 teams. So we played each other twice. So I think we won three games that year, lost 3, and then we lost the semi-final of the league and lost in the 4th round of the Champions as well. But just to get the win was fantastic. So look, we've got a great friendship and relationship with St. Kevin's. They're kind of they're after growing over the last few years as well. They've done really well, and they've started up a hurling team as well.
Deadly.
And they're flying with their men's as well. They've got heaps of numbers, so they've done really well out of COVID. Like they haven't really lost many, where the other clubs have.
Yeah.
We've done all right. Like we've still got the main core, lads before that we had before COVID. I think we got 1 or 2 lads in, but again, we need more to keep it going. Keep it on track.
Yeah. Do you think the Grasshoppers setup is that working well for you, or could you do it more publicity or more funding, or what would you need to keep it going?
Now, the publicity is good because we do it. Because we wouldn't be able to go up against the AFL or soccer. So our Grasshoppers is through the Australian summer. So it's just starting up now. Local footy, local AFL. So that will go right through till September, and then we kind of let the kids relax for a couple of weeks, and then we start our Grasshoppers in October to March. So if you don't play, if those kids don't play cricket, this is a great opportunity for those kids to get out and have a kick about on a Sunday morning. And so I think we're going 3 years now. And
that's pretty good, yeah.
So we've seen, we entered, I don't know if you know, the Gaa 9s. And you got the Pierce's 7s.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one, yeah.
Yeah, so the Pierce's 7s, so the Gaa 9s is 2 weeks before that. So it's basically the Gaa club, and they just play a 9-a-side competition. So we entered 2 ladies teams into the Gaa 9s this year, and we had 8 of our under 15 girls play in our second team, which is fantastic. So they've been training. I think 4 or 5 of those girls have been training right through since they were now 15 now, since they were 12.
Yeah.
Sorry, so they've been training right through with us, and then they played in the competition against like Irish. All the other teams in Melbourne would have very little Australians, and we've got the most playing.
Okay.
So so it was great to see. So you can play. You need to be 14 to play ladies, but you need to be 16 to play the boys need to be 16 to play senior.
Okay.
And so we're just waiting for a couple of more lads to come through in the next couple of years to get that 16 mark to play with a senior.
You're going to take Australia by storm then?
Hopefully that's the plan.
Yeah.
So, the Grasshoppers is great. Like we've got about 150 kids registered, and we average about 70 kids every Sunday morning, and that ranges from 4 to 16. So it's not a you've got 20 or so nippers,
Yeah.
20 or so under 10s, 20 or so under 12 to 14, and then you're 6. But we see that drop off because we haven't got games for these kids. We see that drop off when you get, it's like at home with minor.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of get disinterested, and if you haven't got games for these guys, they go and you never see them again. So that's where we kind of, as a group in Australia, and hopefully next year in March, we'll have an All-Australian failure.
Deadly, that would be great,
Teams from Geelong, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth. Perth have a fantastic underage section going over there. It's run by the state. Same in Adelaide. Melbourne's got 2 clubs, 2 juvenile clubs. We've got, and then New South Wales and Brisbane are kicking off as well. So I think it's the only way forward. We can't be relying on the Irish to keep coming in, as we've seen. Like COVID's just a big eye opener for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, you need to develop. We need to develop these kids here, the homegrown talent, to see the future. You know, we need these kids coming through. Keep the game going.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Would you find yourself not competing as such, but as you said, you know, if the kids don't play cricket, it's a good one for them. Do you find that you're having to nearly sort of drag them in and kind of say, look, this is deadly, you know, come in and give it a go, kind of, or is the AFL just kind of so dominant in cricket and all that as well?
I think the big win for Gael games in Australia is, you know, we've seen ladies AFL come in over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic for the girls, but you know, they're still developing their skills, and we've seen a lot of, you know, ACL injuries and sling tackles. You know, when the parents come down, especially with the girls, and they ask questions about Gaelic game, Gaelic football, and we say, you know, this is what you do, this is how you kick, and then they say, oh, what about tackling? And we say, oh, well, you're not allowed to tackle. Basically, ladies Gaelic football is non-contact to a certain degree, if you get me. And then they're like, wow, you know, this is great. This is the kind of game what we want. This for our kids. And you know, it's so fast, ladies Gaelic football, to AFLW, that you know, they could keep coming back down and coming back down. But again, we just need to get games for these kids, especially at the older level, to keep them involved. You know, as I said, the AFLW is fantastic, but again, that's what we've got a good thing, as you said, because we were not competing against much sport through summer.
Yeah. And
again, it's all word of mouth, because, you know, one girl talks to a whole friend, and then they talk, their parents talk to their parents, and then, you know, it just snowballs. And we haven't got too many. The majority of the kids now are Australian.
Okay.
You know, we've got maybe 10 or so who, you know, their parents emigrated when they were kids, and then they've just come into it. We've got a good few, you know, Irish, Australian kids who their parents moved over here, and or like myself, I moved over and met an Australian, and then, you know, have Australian kids, and then they there was no Gaelic games in Geelong for the kids. You know, kind of regretting we didn't start the Grasshoppers up when we started.
Yeah.
You know, that 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, we probably retired by now. But, you know, but this is the work in progress of the club. We just need to, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. If we didn't know where the club would be when we first started off. It was just about making the club as big as possible, and, you know, starting off with the men, and then we've introduced the ladies as well. We've got the Grasshoppers, and then we've got the Gaelic for mothers as well.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. So,
that's big over here now, you know, as well. So
yes, and it's getting big here now. I've got a few texts and emails of certain people in different states just inquiring about it. And to be honest, it's probably one of the best, you know, programs we've ever done at the club. We just started off in October and registered. We're getting, you know, averaging 10, 12 ladies down every Sunday.
That's pretty good, yeah.
So again, we went October to, you know, the last week, maybe the second last weekend in December for our Christmas break, and then we just asked at the last, you know, do you want to come again in the new year? We're happy to do it. And again, yeah, it was just, they all said yep. So again, just like what we've seen in Ireland, the majority of the ladies and the Gaelic mothers and others, their kids are involved with Grasshopper. So again, they're coming down. They're not standing around just looking at the training session. They're actually getting involved and learning a new skill and learning a new meeting new friends, keeping fit and keeping active.
Yeah, that's deadly. Yeah. So you mentioned they're kind of back home in Ireland, I suppose. How do you yourself and the Irish out there? How do you keep in touch with the GAA here? Do you get the Sunday game, or is it for you? I suppose just watching Dublin winning every week, you wouldn't be too bothered anyway, would you?
I get the GAA go just for the All Ireland final.
Typical standard dub, yeah. Like Westmead here, we get it for the first game of Leinster and then the first game of the qualifiers, and then we just hope for the best. So
that's it. I finished then.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose social media can be good and bad, but we've got so many ideas, and from social media and GAA clubs around the world. Well, okay, I'm just looking, sitting down on an evening and just scrolling through the Instagram page and the Facebook page of other GAA clubs around the world and in Australia. Like, we could do that. That's how the Gaelic from others and others came about. Like, I'm just, I was just thinking there, and we got these people in the club, we got these other people in the club, we got these people in the background, and again, it's just, what if we did do this, and where would it go? And you just go off small, and then you don't know where it might take you, and basically, I don't mean to sound big-headed or anything, but we're the only club in Australia with a senior team and a juvenile team.
There you go.
All the rest of the states the kids are run by the states, not by a club. We're the only club that do this. First club to introduce Gaelic from others and others as well. That's in the Southern Hemisphere. I thought we had it in the world, but I was texting Vinnie Whelan and the ladies Gaelic ladies GAA, and he said no, it was a team in Canada who first started off. They were the first unit outside of Ireland to do it. So
we can delete that. We'll erase the history of that. Don't worry.
Exactly. We'll have the Southern Hemisphere will do it now.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I didn't know that at all. I was chatting to one of the teachers I used to work with. She's part of the Gaelic from Mothers and Others now up in Fermanagh, and she a couple of lads I was chatting to, there's a few people I know, dads, and they said, could you not introduce them for the likes of us, Gaelic for fathers and lazy bastards, that kind of thing. So, there's an idea for you then, the Southern Hemisphere, for the lads who don't want to get up off their arses. You could do that one as well. So
that's Junior B though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I suppose it is Junior B over here, definitely. Definitely, yeah. What since go back to the Wolf Tones, I suppose, and you said you didn't have a lot of wins, but what are the celebrations like when you do get a victory? Where's the local for you?
Oh well, that game is in Melbourne, so I think from memory, we went into the bar and we got two slabs of beer anyway, and we smashed a couple of beers there actually after the game.
I was going to say you smashed a couple of windows.
No, haven't got any bills yet, so
okay.
We're all right. So we just there would have been 4 or 5 on the day that were around from the start, and it was just a win for them, and especially and again I harp on about the Australians, but we wouldn't have a men's team. And I need to touch on the ladies side of things as well at the club. That just started off 2018, and so we got involved with so Ger Rose, the secretary of the Australian GAA, and it's just like what can we do to give the lesser clubs more of a day out as such, and they're not getting wins in the local comps, and they're not going to play state games as such. Yeah. So like the regional games concept was brought into it, and we'd gone to Tasmania for a few weekends previous, 2 or 3 years previous. We just got thinking, why don't we set up a regional games competition? So there was teams from Geelong, Adelaide, Hobart, and then the Gold Coast came on board. And the Gold Coast kind of at the start had the same struggles as we did.
Yeah,
just traveling to Brisbane to play the games. They probably have more Irish on the Gold Coast than we would in Geelong. So in 2018, we had the games in Geelong, and so we got training I think 6 weeks before the games, and we had 14 girls, and I think only one of them was Irish, and we won that competition.
Wow.
So yeah, now it was fantastic. Again, it's a fast that the girls, some of the girls that we have are probably better Gaelic footballers now than they are at AFL.
Right.
It's just the ball and the movement. It's just more quick. It's more quicker. It's it's not, the ball isn't kept down. You got your ball up.
Yeah.
It's not kept down the corner for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It could be up that end. It could be back this end. It could be in the middle. It could be on the wing. And you're always on your goal, always on the goal, always in the goal. So especially because that was only 7-a-side. So again, yeah, it's just we basically saying like we as I said, we'd struggle if we had not the Aussies in the club at the moment. So I think it's 50-50 now with the men in terms of Irish or Aussies, and so it's good. It's good.
Yeah, that's that's a good spot. You say like the bounce for ball in Aussie rules, you don't know where it's going to bounce. Whereas at least at the GAA, you have some chance of getting it back quick and keeping the game going, keeping the tempo going. So,
and that's correct, yeah. Because like training the girls up, we're like, you don't have to kick the perfect ball to get the ball marked.
Yeah,
you can kick the ball. If you're running one way, you can kick the ball the other way, and that ball's just going to go in the same direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to get this perfect kick. You don't have to be precise. You don't have to you don't have to be a perfect kick. You can just kick the ball into space. Know that someone's going to run into it, and the ball's going to go in the one direction, and then you just have to get the ball. And you got and some of them are great kicks, and we probably train them up to use the hands, go through the handball more than kicking. But we've seen them develop over the next few years, and hopefully the World Games are back on in Waterford.
I
think they were supposed to be 2022, but that might get pushed back out a year.
Yeah.
So we seen.
Were you there in 2019? Sorry, did you go in 2019?
No, it wasn't. We had 4 of our lads represent the Australasian native-born team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So again, those Rupert, Adam, Ryan, and Jack, like they'd only been playing Gaelic football for 3 years before that.
Wow.
And here they are in Ireland playing the World Games.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And the native-born ladies team, they got to the final, but they got beaten by New York.
Okay, they weren't one of the ones. Your gang weren't one of the ones. I heard so many great stories of the bus setup from Dublin Airport, where there was a free bus direct to Waterford, but loads of them booked the normal bus and ended up going through like Kilkenny and Carlow and stuff. You didn't book the wrong bus here, lads. No,
I don't think it was them. But the Irish-born Aussies, the Irish representing Australia, they won the final. I think they beat the Middle East. I think the lads in the hurling got beaten in the final. I think the men got beaten in the final as well. So yeah, it was good. Just it'd be interesting to see now how the games go in a couple of years. So we've been just revving up our girls about Ireland 2023 now, like, and the girls are just like, I'm in. Heard all about it from
we've got this,
we've got this. So again, New York, where we are now in Australia with the kids, that was New York 30 or 40 years ago. So we're a long way behind those guys, and that's where you got to reach. Like from outside of Ireland, they're probably the best unit going. Chicago, Boston, all these places. We just need to get up to that standard. And they've got kids, they've got minors, under 15s, everything. Just like a normal, as you probably know about New York, it's just like a normal county.
Yeah. Yeah. Although in fairness, so you've some, as you said, you're not particularly like state sponsored as like a lot of the other clubs are. So you've fairly got yourselves off the ground pretty quickly at the same time. Yeah.
Now at the start, like we just had to cover the insurance, the lads' insurance and liability. Like once we got that covered, we could just, once we had a set of jerseys, this is starting off at the very start. And once we had that, we just had to, once that was covered, we done a couple of fundraisers. we done one big race night, I think 2 years in, and that kept us going for 2 years as such. So yeah, and as we got going bigger and bigger, you know, the intermediate competition came in. As I said, if we hadn't got that, we would have been struggling. But as I said, if we had got the kids in a couple of years earlier, we would have been great. But again, those kids now, their parents are all Irish, and they want to get now involved in the club and help out with the kids section. And again, hopefully we'll have a junior committee now set up next year for next October. So, you know, as just like a juvenile committee back home, you've got your fixtures committee at home, and that's where we want to get. And you know, we've got our own youth Geelong Gaels Youth Championships. We had our first one in 2019. We had 150 kids play on the day. Yeah, 80% never played Gaelic football before that day.
Brilliant though, isn't it?
Yeah, oh no, it's Geelong. We're quite lucky now in Geelong. Like population of 250,000 maybe. We've got 3 or 4 of our players, our Aussie players, school teachers. Ryan Healy's our youth development officer. He's a school teacher, and he got his school involved. You know, we're getting local footy teams involved. We're expecting now in November, when it resumes, we'd be hoping for 250 kids on the day. We've got the Melbourne teams come down. Yeah, as I said, local footy teams, local schools. So again, it's just word of mouth. One day blitz. Nippers, the under 10s, under 12s, under 4, and hopefully now next year we can probably get a minor competition on as well.
Wow, it's a serious setup. Like, you know, there's not a lot of counties over here that could probably say that they've kind of jumped so quick for like such an underage setup as well. There's probably a few like. I think a few counties who need that setup. So,
yeah, the underage setup was just gone off. It's just fantastic. It's, as I said, you know, we've no really competition. You know, even though there's cricket on, it's on a Saturday, so the kids can still play Gaelic and hurl on a Sunday. Yeah, which we've seen. So, no, it's fantastic, and you know, summer over here is beautiful. We're just in autumn now.
Yeah, I've heard it's nice. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Don't mean to rub it in.
No, you're good. I was there in 2012. I was out in Australia, just there for a few weeks. I have family in Adelaide, so went to them on the way around the coast, and then went over to South America. But yeah, the weather, all right, is a pretty attractive thing on its own. So, do you guys? I know you're saying about fundraising and a race night and stuff. Do you do the traditional club lotto like you do over here?
We don't do a club lotto now. It's not really a thing over here.
Okay.
The gambling's it's not really a big thing. So we kind of stick to. I know we said I haven't said that. I know we said we had a trivia night, or a race night, but that was when we first started off. But we've had now 3 or 4 trivia nights, which has been fantastic. And we run a last man standing competition.
Oh yeah.
In the AFL. That's pretty good. Like it's a tenner entry. We had 100 entries this year, so guaranteed like $750 for the club. You know, and as we're getting bigger and bigger again, just we're seeing a lot more people come on board helping out with the sponsorship. So, you know, we obviously want to keep it going, but hopefully now we have got a massive grant from the local council. We've just got $40,000 to get a feasibility study going, just to see where we're at as a club. So at the moment, we still have no real home for the club. We're going from, you know, where we first started off in Baker's Oval in Geelong West. It's just one oval. It was quite small. It suited us quite well for the men when we were just the men's team. You know, had a nice club room and changing rooms. The oval was great, but you know, as we've seen the ladies come in and then the kids, we just got too big. So, we've moved from there to another place that was about 10 minutes away, and that's called Horse Reserve. So that's a big open paddock, and we now play a home game there there, and we've got our kids there. But again, it's not our ground. We share it with a cricket club. So again, we can't really hold events during winter on a Saturday as such, because the cricket wicket is there and it's not covered. So this study now we'll speak to the council and get a study going to see where we are as a club and what we need. So what we need is our own ground, a dedicated GAA pitch with nothing else on it, so we can just rock up at any time of the year. Lights, club rooms. We need there's an Irish society in Geelong, but they never really had a base, a home.
Okay.
So we'd be looking for I just keep harping on about home, and I just keep telling the Aussies here, you need a home, you need a clubhouse, round, you need a clubhouse,
yep.
You need the changing rooms, you need it's basically a hub, a go-to Irish spot in Geelong. But it's not just for the Irish; it'll be for everybody. Anybody who wants to come down and play Gaelic games, they'll be more than welcome to come down.
Yeah.
That's where hopefully now 3 or 4 years we'll have our own pitch, and we can't really get the Melbourne teams down, as I said, during summer, because we've got so many ideas playing international rules, getting the Melbourne teams down to play a one day competition. We just can't get in anywhere because all the ovals are shared. October to March is cricket, and then straight after that is you got your footy starting up. So we just can't get in anywhere until winter, basically. So last week we had our first league game in Geelong, and Paul Pierce's came down.
Oh yeah.
And then afterwards we had the club rooms open, but again we can't really do anything because it's the crickets. So that's where we're at as a club at the moment. Just that's the only thing that's really that our own pitch, our own club rooms, and then we're sorted as a club for hopefully for the next 100 years.
Yeah, no, you sound like you're fairly on the way anyway. I wasn't expecting. I didn't realize that you were so advanced. It's pretty impressive. What yourself then? For a few other bits at the end. What's your own kind of role in the club apart from player, volunteer, Dublin representative?
Well, I'm secretary of the club.
Okay.
When we first started up, we had Michael Woods, and he's gone home now. He was one of the guys who was around the 5 years previous to us starting back up in 2013. So he jumped on board. He helped out, and I kind of acted as president then, and Michael was secretary. And then Michael went home to Ireland there 5 or 6 years ago. So I jumped into the secretary's role, just kind of liaising with the clubs in Melbourne, and we got Nigel Maxey as president. We got Conor Kelly from Galway as treasurer. Who else have we got on the committee? Paul Power from Waterford, and we're quite scattered. We got Noel Tracy from Kilkenny. Noel's our captain is a Kilkenny man. Would you believe that?
There's a lot of questions to be asked about that.
He asks them as well.
Yeah, I'd say he does. Yeah.
And so Paul Power, yeah. So Bonzi, he was captain before he went off to Darwin for a few years. So yeah, we're well scattered around. I think we got two. Yeah, Jerry Quirk is a dub. A few from Jordan Morris, who's new. He's one of the new guys who came in. He's Kildare. We're scattered. We only got one Nordy. He's Ed. He's from Armagh.
No Westmeath people.
Yeah,
no.
So we do. Paddy O'Reilly.
Okay.
Paddy's from what club is Paddy? Milltown.
Oh yeah, out the road.
Yeah. That's Paddy's company there, Keystone Civil. So he's in Geelong, and he's been around from day one as well, Paddy. So he's seen us grow. So yeah, it's been quite good. We've got, as I said, we don't have too many. Couple of clear, but not really that many. As I said, we're 50-50 in terms of autism. But again, those guys who went home to Ireland for the World Games, like they when they got there, they had to kick around the my club in Dublin, Aaron's and so we're telling them our story of kids and having our club rooms, and then they went to see it, and they were just amazed with the setup. So they're now on board now, and they know what we want now and what we need, and they can see, okay, this is what we need, and this is what the Irish need. And so it'll be a community base hopefully,
proper Irish way.
Open to anyone. Yes, so just open, and it's always there. So
it's there for everyone. Do you get to keep in touch with the Erin's Isle, or who have you got back home that give a shout out to or say hello to if you want?
Dad's there. Dad's still there in Blanche. He's in Blanchardstown. Sister in Duleek, and I've got my other sisters in San Francisco. So
fairly spread out.
Yeah, all the rest of the cousins and aunties, they're all in Fingers, so they're all still involved in the club. So hopefully they can get you as yourself. You can get back out playing soon enough and start playing games. So I don't really. It was a bit. I'm not sure what the word was, but you didn't really want to be sending photographs home like last couple of months. We were out at the beaches and stuff like that. And we've got a big WhatsApp group, like the whole family. I've got my dad and sisters in one group, but then got my cousins and aunties and uncles in another group. And, we were a bit tentative to send that. Yeah. We were summer here, like beaches. We had to wear masks indoors, in the supermarkets. But once you stepped outside, the mask was off. So just in the bars, going to footy games, basically, just we were pretty much living without COVID as such.
No, I know what you mean. I'd not want to send you. Even this morning, like I was watching the AFLW Grand Finals on this morning, and I was like, I was kind of half looking at deadly game, but I was like, there's crowds at it. Like it's just, I can't wait for that to ever come back again. Like it's kind of sickening.
There was 56, I think 56,000 at the West Coast Collingwood game last night in Perth.
Right.
There'll be 20. There'll be nearly. There'll probably be 30,000, 35,000 now at Geelong, North Melbourne tomorrow in Geelong. So it's pretty much back to full capacity in venues, sporting venues, shopping centres. But it only takes one outbreak and we'll be back. We're just seeing there, like last year, just after Christmas, Sydney was down for a few weeks. We had a 5-day snap lockdown in Melbourne, and that's the one that kind of hit me. It was the whole of Victoria that was in lockdown. It wasn't just Melbourne. So when the big one hit in Melbourne, like last year, it was just the ring. They called it the Ring of Steel, and it was just Melbourne. Like we here in Geelong and regional Victoria, we could basically go about our business, but you weren't even allowed. There was a border around Melbourne, and you weren't allowed out of that.
Okay, I have
once the vaccine.
I had plenty of family in Melbourne and stuff as well who I saw, and even like I had Ailish Considine off the Adelaide Crow. She was on the podcast there a while back, and on her Instagram, like you just see her on the beach and everyone. I just like, I'm gonna have to delete you. Like I text her, just said I'm gonna have to delete you like soon enough. So
did you? So you watched the final? I didn't. I've seen the highlights. I was kind of happy Brisbane won. They've lost. I think they've lost 2 out of 4.
But,
they've definitely lost 2. So I was kind of happy they won. Adelaide have won 1 or 2 already. So
Adelaide won in 2019. All right, they fairly hammered Carlton. It was nice to see like there were 2, I suppose, kind of Munster final in some ways. You had Ailish and Clare and Orlo Dwyer from Tip. So it was kind of it was nice to see her win, I suppose, in some ways. Even though I went out when I went out in 2012, I got off the plane in Adelaide. My uncle handed me a season ticket to the Crows game, which was starting in an hour. So I literally went straight from the airport to the Crows. So I was kind of disappointed they didn't win, but sure, you can't begrudge a good team. I suppose Orlo Dwyer probably would have put in performance that would have won in All Ireland by herself. So you can't really begrudge them too much.
She kicked 2 goals in the prelim.
Yeah, she's pretty impressive in fairness. The GA, I think, stands to an awful lot of them when they get out there. Like I had Chrissy McCaig was on as well, one of the early episodes of the podcast, and you see I went to the 2010 All Ireland final here between Cork and Down, and Marty Clark had just come back, and like the way he was kind of kicking sideways, but like he still had the skill, like he still had the talent to do it. So that'll be Elot when if he ever come back,
Yeah, well, Marty Clark, he didn't get much luck there. He left. No. He left the year he left. The the following year, Collingwood won the grand final and then Down lost the All Ireland.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. He didn't. He
I
didn't
think
get
he came
too much.
back out a couple. He came back out a couple of years later, but I suppose you got to look with this game. You got to keep going. You can't just stop starting.
Yeah,
just leave you behind.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yes. The last few bits I have actually are kind of I do quick fire questions with the GA people that I've on, the footballers and hurlers and camogie and stuff. So myself and a few of the lads kind of got together and come up with a few random kind of 50-50 choice questions for each of the countries that we're going to. So I'm going to give you, since you're up first, I'm going to give you the Aussie ones. So you have a choice here now. I suppose the dub, some of these might be a bit obvious, but you have a choice. You can choose Fair City or home and away.
Oh, home and away.
All day long. Oh God, that's terrible. As a dub, you're choosing home and away over Carrickstown. Devastated. Okay, Subway or Supermax.
Nicer looking actors over here.
I won't argue with that one. Yeah. I actually was an extra in Fair City at one stage back in the college days. It was handy money and yeah, it's nothing against RT, but it's pretty depressing out there. So Subway or Supermax.
Supermax.
Alf Stewart or Duncan Stewart. Do you remember Duncan Stewart? Alf, yeah. Bondi Beach or Bundoran?
Bondi.
Kylie Minogue or Enya?
Kylie.
Oh, Kylie, yeah. A barbecue or the full Irish?
Oh, the full Irish.
Man. The AFL Grand Final or the All Ireland Final?
All Ireland.
All Ireland, yeah. Now, bear in mind, you have a Kilkenny man who's in charge of your club. So I don't know if I don't know much about this festival. Is there something called the Paco Festa out there?
Yeah, that's in Geelong.
Yeah, or the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Oh, St. Paddy's Day.
Okay. Ben Cousins or James McCarthy?
Ben Cousins.
Oh, wow. That's going to be controversial when the Dubs hear that one. What is the Paco Festa? I have to ask before I let you go. What is that?
Well, it's just kind of, it's in Geelong and it's just huge multicultural parade in Geelong. You've got, it's a day, it's a morning event, but you've got so many cultures and ethnic organizations in Geelong, you know, Chinese, Russians, Americans, Irish, everything, and they all dress up in their cultural clothing, and then you just march, just like the Paddy's Day Parade. Everyone just marches down Paco Street. So Paco Street's the main street in Geelong West, and you just walk down, and you just parade in your gear as such. And you know, we've been there for the last 3 or 4 years with the Irish Society as well. And you know, we St. Patrick out the front and all the Irish flags waving, and all the lads in the background with our Gael tops on, the kids down. So right.
Deadly, yeah. No, I only just saw it and I only got to read like a tiny little bit about it. I didn't actually, I didn't get to study it, so that's good. I'm just making sure I haven't missed it. And so you're the first Southern Hemisphere club to do an awful lot in a city with the second oldest AFL club actually as well.
Yes.
Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to? Any of the sponsors or any of, I suppose, anyone locally as well? Are you involved with any of the consulates or anything out there that you want to give a shout out to before I let you go? Back to your takeaway.
Not really. No, just Paddy's been a big sponsor, like so he's kept us going for the last few years and just kept us going with probably the best dressed looking team in Victoria. So that's the main thing.
That's the tagline for the episode, and definitely when it comes out in June or July, that's going to be the tagline. Meet the best dressed team in Australia. That's
it. It's just the Fela team, you know. You get nowhere in the Fela, but we won the best dressed.
We actually won the best dressed. Stop.
Well, what I did is when I was at home with as well, we won best dressed. We paraded through Barnell Park and we got best dressed.
That is phenomenal. I didn't ever expect that story to come up. So that is brilliant. Yeah, John, look, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thanks for being the first club on the second season of this, and I'll give you a shout. It'll probably be June, July, I'd say, by the time I get around to it, but I'm going to keep it for the summertime. But I hope all's well out there. I hope I didn't ruin your takeaway. And
no, all good, Chase. All good. And then just keep an eye out on the Instagram page. We've got a few more games coming up, and so hopefully in a few years, as I said, we see these kids coming through and we can retire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know E-dubs, you'll keep going forever. It'll be 20 in a row, I'd say, before any of you ever bother to retire. So, yeah, no,
That's it.
yeah, no, the best of luck with Geelong, and hopefully see you back with plenty of games and stuff on Instagram and stuff soon. So, I'll let you go, John, but have a good evening, and I'll talk to you again soon, hopefully.
Come on, have a good day.
Yeah,
See you,
mind
mate.
yourself, John. Take it easy. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Coming up on Thursday this week on the Loaf of Bread GA podcast, we travel to our next slice of the world. I've decided that my carbon footprint is not going to be an issue in this series, and I'll fly back to Australia again soon. On Slice 2 of Gaa Global, we fly from Australia to the beautiful Spain and catch up with James from Limerick, Jennifer from Bray, and Lewis from Colchester in England, all of whom play with the great Zaragoza GAA in Spain. And how did you find the basic skills starting off?
It does take some getting used to. Yeah. At least I think now I'm not too bad. I'm better than the average Englishman, but still, it does take a while, especially when it's it's moving and you've got to kick it off the ground and stuff. Never quite mastered it, but
okay.
At least steady improvements.
That's going to be my tagline for this one. Better than the average Englishman. I like that as a tagline. So yeah, perfect. Yeah. We chat everything about Spain and playing the Irish games, nights out with the club, rivalries in Spanish soccer and GAA, and answer some of the key issues of the day: paella or Irish stew, sangria or Guinness, Rafael Nadal or TJ Reid, and of course Enrique Iglesias or Daniel O'Donnell. That's all this Thursday morning from 9 a.m. as we continue the journey with 2 slices a week. I'll see you at the arrivals hall. Until then, check out the various clubs on the Instagram page and see all the amazing work they do, and check out some of the nicest GAA gear in the world. Slán